Alright, here it is. Draft recap. Possibly part 1. Probably gonna be part 1, because this video is probably gonna be long as hell. And I won't be able to do everything I plan to do in this one video. I planned on doing a recap of the whole draft round by round, then looking at each team individually and then ranking each team. But just this first part of this video might be long enough just for one video, and then I'll have to do the other part later. This honestly might devolve into just a story time of what was going through my head during this draft, because this shit was messy. This shit was messy. So just to start, I just want to say that I went in with zero expectations, and I still felt like I was taking a final that I didn't study for. All my prep went out the window. Literally pick one. Literally pick one. It was chaos the whole time. Before I actually go over the picks, I do want to put a couple disclaimers out. On draft day, a lot of people heard me say, hey, if that's your guy, then get your guy. That's kind of my motto, my mantra for fantasy football. What this does mean is that if you believe in a player, if you really do think they're going to perform, then go ahead and reach for them. Because at the end of the day, no matter where you pick them, if they perform, then it's fine. It worked out. What this doesn't mean is that you're immune to criticism for reaching for a player. And that context and nuance does matter, especially in a 10-man league like ours. Disclaimer 2. These are just my opinions. You're more than free to disagree. You're more than free to think I'm wrong, to think that whoever made this pick was right or they were actually wrong. It's fine. It's just my opinion. I just happen to be the one making YouTube videos. I would very much love to hear everyone else's opinion if they disagree with me. Obviously, I love talking ball, so I'm more than open and willing to have debates about these players. Now, for context over this whole draft. By now we know about 16 running backs being taken out of the first 20 picks. And I know that I know on draft day we talked about how this is a running back heavy league. But it was never this heavy. Last year, I went back and checked. Last year, out of the first 20 picks, 14 of them were running backs. Not 16, 14. I could only track 19 of the 20 players, but with my supreme detective skills from playing the Ace Attorney games, I believe that the 20th pick was DeAndre Hopkins. There's no way for me to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure it was him. But yeah, 14 out of 20 running backs, or 14 out of 20 players in the first 2 rounds were running backs. But I think there's a big difference between what happened last year, even if it was 14 out of 20, and what happened this year. So to start it all off, we obviously have to start with the first pick. Oh my god. So Eric, you know, I was in the car with him, with Cade, Miguel. I don't know if Noto was in the car yet. Eric had the first pick, and I talked to him. I was like, hey man, who are you picking? Eventually, he said to us that he was between Jonathan Taylor and Austin Ekeler. I was like, wow, I think you're wrong. I think this is a very easy pick if that's who you're between. And later on I said, man, just take Taylor. Just take Taylor. Like, just don't overthink it, just take Taylor. And he said, yeah, I know. I was like, alright. And I said, hey, it is your team. You can do what you want. I'm not gonna, I don't want to dictate your draft. Lo and behold, as we all know, he took Austin Ekeler at the 1-1. First overall, first round, he took Austin Ekeler. I mean, this fucked everything up. This fucked everything up. During my draft prep, I had expected or planned to get either Austin Ekeler or Ja'Marr Chase, because I thought, you know what, I'm guaranteed to get one of the two. Because there's no way, because if the people in front of me take both of them, then that means I get someone else that I think was better than them anyways. But, the more I talked to people, between Eric, Gabe Noda, just the more people I talked to about who they were gonna pick, it seemed less and less likely I was gonna get Eckler. I didn't think it was gonna happen this early. In terms of Eckler, a bit I do have some slight concerns about him. Obviously, we know the positives. Um, we know that he put up 20 touchdowns. You know, whatever. We don't even need to talk about that. We know how good he can be. But he has outright said that he wants help in the backfield. Um, like he doesn't like he wants rest. So you know, if the coaches lighten his workload, if other running backs start getting some time, you start getting some time on the field, then you know I find it'll be pretty hard for him to produce in any. I find it'll be hard for him to produce close to what he did last year. Will he get 15 touchdowns? Maybe. I think it's definitely possible. I think if you see him get anything over that, I think it'll be a surprise. Um, like I said, it's totally possible. I just I think the odds are getting lower. Um, the Chargers they drafted Isaiah Spiller. They just recently signed Sony Michel. I still wanted him. I still think he's gonna perform. I think he's gonna be great. I think to take him at number one is just nuts. Also, in hindsight, you know, I'm sure Eric wasn't doing draft prep back then, but it's wild that Eric had the ability to choose whichever ever position in the draft he wanted, and he picked number one, even though he probably could have got Eckler at least 2 or 3 picks later. Um, but it is what it is. I really hope this pick works out. Like I said, I'm sure he'll do fine, but I have my, I have my, I have my concerns. And then here, Jonathan Taylor, second overall, is the most normal pick here, probably. Honestly, I'm still appalled that Noda was even considering 3 different people at this spot. But yeah, I mean, you got a normal, properly timed draft pick. And it's probably the safest pick of the draft. So congrats on that. Apparently, Gabe was supposed to pick up Cooper Cup. I think he should have. Instead, Derrick Henry goes third. And this is when I thought our league is fucked. This is when it became very clear to me that the running backs were gonna be in a very strange spot following these 2 rounds. As for Derrick Henry, I'm not as high on him as others are. Obviously, we know he's that guy. We know he's the king. He's King Henry or whatever. But now since he's like by far the best player on the Titans offense, I don't think it'll be as easy for him to crank out these 20-point games, 20 plus point games that he had before he got injured last year. I think the Titans just lost so much on offense. Obviously, later on, the AJ Brown trade. The point is, the team on offense is not as good as it was before. And I feel like that just is. There's no positive for Derrick Henry in that, because especially if you replace AJ Brown with Treylon Burks, I think is his name, the rookie wide receiver that has not had a good preseason showing, and then Robert Woods, who is nothing like AJ Brown. I just don't think Derrick Henry will be able to produce at a 3rd overall pick level that I think other picks will. We have this 4th pick here, Christian McCaffrey at 4th. This is a steal for sure. Fantasy is about upside, and Christian McCaffrey is one of a very small number of people who has the upside to be number 1. I fully believe in him, and I'm glad Alexei took him instead of Najee Harris. This year, I don't think the Panthers should have to run CMC into the ground, since now they have Baker Mayfield. I hope they don't run him into the ground. I hope he can get a normal workload for a number 1 running back. I think that with Baker on the field, Christian McCaffrey won't have to feel like he's the whole offense. because we know with Sam Darnold and whoever else they've had at quarterback recently, then he was one of the few threats just because DJ Moore is kind of handicapped by his quarterback play. Hopefully Baker won't handicap DJ Moore that much, and CMC will have more freedom. Pick 5. If Christian McCaffrey didn't fall, we would have had 3 homers just sucking off their running backs. Because at 5, instead of taking Justin Jefferson, Jack takes Dalvin Cook. And oh boy, did this open up a nasty can of worms. Look, we know Jack loves the Vikings, but I just don't understand. Like, I really had a hard time wrapping my head around it. Why Jack would take Dalvin Cook over Justin Jefferson, if anything. The only rationale I was really able to come up with is that people were rushing running backs too hard. But I mean, at this point, it was just the only picks I saw as reaches at this point were Eckler and Henry. So it's only 2 people. And then I guess this made a third. As individual players between Cook and Jefferson, I don't see a world where Cook outperforms Jay Jetta. It's a PPR league. Cook is so notably injury prone that his handcuff Alexander Madison is damn near a must for anybody in late rounds. Like, you don't even need to have Dalvin Cook to want to draft Alexander Madison. Hopefully Jefferson will have more chemistry with Cousins. I heard that they're looking to pass the ball more. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. Obviously, Dalvin Cook is going to perform. He won't be a bad pick. I just don't see taking him over Kupp or Jefferson. And now, we're at my pick. And I will let you in on a little bit of my draft prep because it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Nothing really went according to plan. As you can see here, I had 2 plans. I had 2 main plans. I was either going to go Eckler or Chase. And then, you know, if you're around 2 and 3 running back no matter what, that didn't work. Nowhere on here does it say Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson, because I thought there's no shot that happens. Oh man. This is fucked. And you can see here in my color-coded sheet, the only people that I was potentially gonna take. Oh shit. As you can see here by my nice color-coded graph, the only people that I was thinking of taking was Eckler or Chase, because I thought those are the only people that could fall to me. Then, you know, I had like the people that I wanted, the people that I thought might have been overpriced, whatever. So when the draft results looked like this, and this was up, when this was up, I mean, I lost my shit. I mean, I don't understand how the number 1 player last year with no discernible concerns, no injury, he's not injury prone, nothing in the offense really changed. Odell just got replaced by Allen Robinson, which is fine. Cam Akers is back, he's going to be healthy, so there's more weapons. There's more chemistry between Stafford and Kupp. I mean, I don't get it. It's a PPR league. It's a PPR league. Like, this is literally built for people like Kupp, who he's good. His quarterback's good. His offense is good. His coach is good. His coach runs plays specifically for him because he knows how good he is. I mean, there's literally there's no downsides at all to Cooper Kupp, and he went 6th behind Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and Austin Eckler. I just don't get it. And not only that, But the other receivers on that team aren't even that crazy where they're gonna take that many targets from him. I know Allen Robinson is probably, you know, he's the wide receiver too, like for sure. But Tyler Higbee? Tyler Higbee's not a target threat. Obviously he's gonna have some. He's gonna get some passes, but he's not gonna steal targets from Cooper Kupp. I just don't get it. He was literally the #1 player last year, and he went 6th overall when nothing changed from last year. They still have Sean McVay, and he's the mastermind. So I don't think there's anything wrong at all. I don't see any downsides at all to Kupp. And that actually brings me to the next pick, who is, I think, very similar in a very similar situation. Miguel landed Justin Jefferson. Miguel landed Justin Jefferson. A lot of the things I just said about Kupp, I think apply to Justin Jefferson here. I really don't think there's that much downside at all. I think he's in Cooper Kupp's situation, except a little bit worse. Just a little bit. His coach isn't as good, his quarterback isn't as good. And I think Thielen and Cook are probably better than Akers and Robinson. He's still Justin Jefferson. He's that guy. We know he's that guy. So I don't I don't know how he fell this far, especially with the Vikings homer in the 5th pick. I don't know. This draft really confused me. Everybody, I don't know. I'm losing my words. I'm losing my words here. I just don't get it. If Kirk Cousins plays well and hits him when he needs to, he'll be fine. Yeah. I don't have much else to say about that. Yeah, 8th pick, Najee Harris, not a bad pick at all. I'd have been very angry if Alexei took him at 4th and then Cade took Swift at 8, because then we would have had 4 homers sucking dick, and I just can't stand for that. If we had 4 people just drafting their favorite team's running back in the 1st round, I would have been pissed. I'm not gonna lie. But hey, it's your guys' draft. This is just my opinion. Let's just keep going. Contrary to many other people, I actually like Saquon Barkley at 9. Yeah, whatever. He's injury prone, yada yada, whatever. I don't care. I believe in him. His O-line is better this year. They've drafted some good people on the O-line. Their coach is different. The offense as a whole will definitely be better. And we all know how good Saquon is when he's healthy. I'm a fan of the pick. I wouldn't have minded either of the 2 running backs that come next in this draft spot either. At 10 and 11 back-to-back, we have Alvin Kamara and Joe Mixon for Caleb's team. I really like Kamar's potential. It doesn't look like he's going to get suspended. It's not a bad pick to me. Same with Joe Mixon, not bad. Would have been fine with any of the 4 running backs taken from 1-9 to 2-2. Again, Brandon with another running back. I really like this Aaron Jones pick actually. We've seen Rodgers throw to Jones like he's a wide receiver, especially like last year's playoffs. So he'll have good running back value for sure. The only concern is AJ Dillon stealing touchdowns in the red zone, but I think the lack of receivers give Aaron Jones a huge edge in the passing game, and this is a PPR league, so I think he'll be fine. And for a pick, I'm not super sold on. DeAndre Swift at 2-3. I mean, taking him here isn't bad at all. I think is a fine spot to take him. I just think him as a prospect is not one that I'm super high on. He's a good running back. He'll have the majority of the workload, including the passing game. I just don't think he'll be able to create as many opportunities for himself as a runner compared to other running backs taken in this area. I just have slight concerns about how many big plays he'll be able to take or how many yards he'll be able to create. Like I said, he will have the majority of the workload, so I think he'll be fine. But Jamal Williams is a great backup running back that could definitely get some snaps running and receiving. Not a bad pick, just one of the running backs that I'm not entirely sold on. And by a miracle of God, we have a lot of those in this league. Actually, I don't know if they're miracles or curses, but this was robbery. Jamar Chase at 2-4 is just so nuts to me. To me, Jamar Chase is going to be a top 6 player. I think he for sure has the potential to be top 6. Getting him at 2-4 is insanely high value. I commend Miguel for sure for taking Chase in the face of all these running backs falling off the board, because I would have done the exact same thing, and I think it was the right thing. I have a hard time seeing any of the running backs in front of him up to like Saquon or Najee Harris. Honestly, like I said, any of the running backs in front of him right here, I don't think they're gonna outperform Jamar Chase. And for the first time, I think people were actually too high on running backs, and they reached just too far, ignoring best player on the board. And something I'll talk about more in the next video. The key point of it is that last year, I don't think we reached on running backs. Last year, we didn't reach on running backs. I think where we took them actually made sense. This year, I think a lot of the running backs taken in these first 2 rounds were hard reaches. I think that's the difference, because even though we went running back heavy last year, it made sense to take them where we took them. It wasn't like we ignored the best player on the board for 2 rounds and then we let somebody get a certain top 10 receiver in the 3rd round. Like I said, I can talk more about it in the next part of this video, but Miguel getting Jamar Chase at 4, I think is it's a problem. I'll just say it. And Diggs at 3-2 is a problem also. I don't think either of those people should have fallen that far, and almost all of us just went way too hard on the running backs. And then, for my pick, Jamar Chase was gone. I 100% would have taken him if he had fallen. I gave Miguel his props, but since he did that, I took Leonard Fournette. I've had my eyes on Fournette throughout the whole draft process. I know that I passed on Diggs when I did this, but hey, you remember my mantra. If you want your guy, get your guy, and this was my guy, and there was absolutely no way he was going to the 3rd round. So this was my only chance to take him. I really wanted him, so I took him. I thought about taking Diggs, but I really wanted Fournette. He is the lone running back in what is pretty much an S tier offense. He will get all the goal line touches. He'll play every down, every passing down, he'll get the ball every carry. I think he'll definitely perform. So while I would not have minded getting Diggs, I think Fournette is still going to be a great RB1 for me. Then the next pick, I'm a bit conflicted on for some reasons. James Conner. James Conner was a big running back that I had on my board. I really thought I had a good chance at getting him. In a lot of my draft prep, I mocked or planned on getting Conner. Here, big bold green background, I was planning on getting Conner, or at least hoping for it in round 3. Jack actually takes him at 2-6. I don't hate the pick at all, because I think James Conner is going to do really well as the lone running back in Arizona. I just don't know if he should have gone this high. I think Diggs, realistically speaking, I think Diggs should have gone right in this area. At least, actually, yeah. Well, here's what I think. I think Adams and Diggs should have gone earlier, and then move some people down. Yes, I know I'm playing part of that by drafting Leonard Fournette. But like I said, he was my guy. My eyes were set on him from the very beginning of draft prep. So that's my excuse. Who knows? Maybe that's everyone else's excuse. But I think that Adams and Diggs definitely should have gone earlier. They probably should have gone in this round. And then we would have been a little bit closer to that 14 out of 20 that we got last year, even with all the reaches that we got this year. Back to James Conner. I think he'll do great. He's going to get all the red zone touches. He's going to be in the passing game. He's going to be running. He's going to do everything. And I think he's definitely going to put up big numbers this year. Chubb at 2-7. Chubb's just a great running back. The obvious issues with him are the potential split carries with Kareem Hunt. And the Browns offense just being ass. However, with the running backs taken before him, I mean, I think this is a good pick. I can't really say much against it. 2-7 is not a bad spot for Nick Chubb at all. value-wise. Javonte Williams, I'm not actually huge on him. I haven't really watched him play, so I can't really say how I feel about him as an actual running back. I think he was projected a bit too high for my taste. Melvin Gordon is absolutely getting some carry still, potentially like almost 50, maybe 40, which is a decent chunk. I don't know who's gonna get the red zone touches. But like I said, with the running backs flying off the board, I can't really be that mad that he was taken at this spot. I actually do think it's a pretty decent spot to take him. If he was taken before some of these other running backs, then I might have had more of a problem, but I think he should be alright. Davante Adams becomes yet another top wide receiver to fall stupidly far because of the running back spree. So now Noda has a great running back one and a great wide receiver one. Going from Rodgers to Carr is a downgrade for Adams, but he's still Davante Adams, and Carr isn't that big of a downgrade that Adams will suffer from it. As long as Adams can just keep getting his red zone touches, he'll perform at around the same level as his prior years. Oh man, this last pick. Oh boy, what a banger. So, to end off this video, potentially, in the second round at 210, Eric takes Ezekiel Elliott. As a consequence of everyone rushing running backs as fast as possible, Eric felt pressured to get another starting running back. He passed on what I think could have been much better picks that could have made his team much more cohesive and overall better. As much as it hurts me to say, this and Eric's next pick were probably his worst too. As for Ezekiel Elliott individually, I don't think he'll do bad. I think he'll be fine. He also suffers from the potential split carry backfield. By that same note, we might see Tony Pollard actually playing the slot a bit instead of the backfield. Maybe they might be on the field at the same time. Zeke will produce. I think he might have been more of a third round running back. I mean, he's right on the edge, but I think middle third would have been a more acceptable or realistic spot for him. But yeah, if this is the first part, if this is the end of this first part, then this is the outro. The discussion about Eric's third round pick, we'll have to wait till next time. This video, looking at the time, this video is already long as hell, and I'm literally only 2 rounds in. The rest of the rounds won't be as in depth as this, but they will all be in the following vid, and I will talk about all the other rounds, all the teams individually. Just repeat my disclaimers. I do think it's okay to reach to get your guy if you think it's your guy, but considering it's a 10-man league, I do have to look at who was taken, who could have been taken in the spots where people were reached for. Like I said, these are just my opinions. If you disagree with them, please let's have a discussion about it. I just love talking ball, I love talking fantasy. Obviously this is what I do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The next part will hopefully be out soon. I will definitely get it done before the season starts on Thursday. Wow, that's so soon. Holy shit. But yeah, let's hope that we don't all have running back problems this year, yeah? Alright guys, till next time.